Hello there guys, welcome back. This is the witchy vlog for the Witchling Banishment and my week experiencing these energies. So we're a day late. Weekend's been a bit crazy, so we are a little bit behind, but hopefully we'll get a couple of videos out today and catch up with what's missing. So just to recap briefly on the meanings of this card in particular, it's about empowering yourself to get rid of your problems, your unwanted negative energy, the unwanted things that influence your life in a negative fashion. I actually worked alongside the Shapeshifters Oracle and pulled Butterflies in the Gloom, which actually means after sadness, happiness and hope return. You've begun to get used to things being too gloomy, too dark. You've begun to take on a pessimistic mindset. So it's now time to make a change, and the Butterflies in the Gloom are cutting through the fog of self-pity and showing you the way out. It's time to do things that send the universe the message that you are embracing hope. So the first sort of message between these two cards for me personally was about personal mindset, and I actually came to the conclusion, this is my quote, that all healing starts with banishing. Joanne Morris, 2014. And it depends on what you're banishing, but if you are engaged in a spiritual path and you're aware of energy and the power of the mind over your physical well-being, then and emotional well-being and mental well-being, then you are aware that having a very negative mindset all the time, expecting the worst all the time, means that those things will occur because you are attracting what you are. I've felt very strongly about the idea that you attract what you are, not what you want, recently, and therefore you have to identify in your own mind the things that you are doing wrong, if you like. It's not so much wrong as it is putting yourself in a negative frame of mind, and then things that just seem worse and worse comes from it. To start the week off, I decided I would cleanse out the altars. I usually do this in the new moon. I did this in the new moon as well, but I did this at the very beginning of the week as well. Reset all the energies. Started with a whole healing and banishing regime to do with my essence, which is to do with healing with your own totem animal. And a little bit of information came my way at the beginning of the week which kind of prompted this. Fox animal symbolism takes a turn of intelligence in the Celtic realm. Celts believed the fox to be a guide and was honoured for its wisdom. The Celts understood that the fox knew the woods intimately, and they would rely on the fox as their guide in the spirit world. And that, to me, is the cross-link right there between my totem being a fox and my journey with the Morrigan, crows, and things of that nature. It's always something that has been a little bit of a thing where I was looking at it like how when foxes don't tend to appear in mythos to do with the Morrigan. And I realised that it's to do with the other world, it's to do with being a spiritual creature of the other world, a guide, and things of that nature. And basically we have to banish our preconceptions that just because our totem is something that doesn't show up immediately in the Morrigan myth means that something's not quite right there. And once we look at the overarching web, we can start to understand how it all interlinks. You know, I had been asked, you know, well, how come your totem isn't a crow? And I had people assume my totem was a crow in the past, and I'm like, no, it isn't. They're everywhere, but to me that's more about her. And I don't need to take on every aspect of her to follow her, to engage with Morrigan, to be close to her, I don't have to take away from what my animal totem, my animal energy actually is, because that's just counterproductive. So you have to kind of banish any preconceptions and engage with things as they are. Try and just be true to yourself, and that will help with banishing what is false. And then another quote from me is hope. Embrace hope and the negative times will be banished. Hope is the power. Hope is the open eye to all the universe. One eye. And there's been imagery with regards of one eye looking inwards, one eye looking outwards, which is really fascinating. I don't know if I wrote that down or if I covered that in, I may have covered that in the Hope and Witchcraft video. Only love can be divided endlessly and still not diminish. Anne Moria Lindenberg. Never stop wondering, never stop wandering. S.H. Pagan. Strive to be a warrior and a scholar. Be forged in fire and tempered by knowledge. If not, you will lack the courage to fight for your ideals, or lack ideals worth fighting for. I think this is really important within a Morrigan style path. I think people become overly focused on the idea that her daughters and sons are warriors, and warriors is something onto itself, and then you see sort of aggressive negative behaviour taken out in her name, whereas again I think that's a really bad concept that needs to be banished. To strive to be a warrior and a scholar is much more in keeping with how I feel her energy works. She sends you on sort of quests, if you like searching, seeking out who you are. You'll go through trials, you have to figure things out for yourself, and that's very much about being both a scholar and a warrior. However, we live by mystery, not by explanation. Cecil Collins. It is the mystery of things that drive us to seek, and if we are given an explanation of something, it's not as empowering. To be told this is how something is not as engaging to the human spirit as the mystery of how something works. And perhaps that's a problem in modern society with information overload, that rather than things holding a mystique to a lot of people, they just accept things as they are, and rather than seeking out to know how things work and whatever, it's just accepted that they do. Then there was all of the concepts of hope. I'm not going to cover all of that again because I discussed all of that within the Hope and Witchcraft video. The quote I do like by Arundhati Roy was this one: to love, to be loved, to never forget your own insignificance, to never get used to the unspeakable violence and the vulgar disparity of life around you, to seek joy in the saddest places, to pursue beauty to its lair, to never simplify what is complicated or complicate what is simple, to respect strength, not power, above all to watch, to try and understand, and never look away, and never, never to forget. I think that covers the overarching themes of this week really, really well. It's talking about keeping your own ego in check, to never forget your own insignificance. I think egotistical behaviour and ego and things are, and can be, a real problem within human psyche and the way the world is today. To think of ourselves as the be-all and end-all, to think of ourselves as more important than any other living creature on the planet, or other people even, to sort of have this disparity between other people and think that we are somehow above them, better than them, more powerful than them, when that's not what we should be even thinking about. To respect strength, not power, and strength is about so much more than power. Power tends to be, it is a kind of a dirty word in some ways, and it's a complicated thing that really needs further examining than I'm going to put into this video, because otherwise this video will be hours long. But strength very much is a internal process, whereas power tends to be the exerting of influence over others. That's an external focus. So the idea here is that we should be checking ourselves and embracing and respecting what other people have been through and the strength that they form in their own being, rather than respecting those that can outwardly command other people. It's a very sort of fine line, because obviously I think it's true in a lot of cases, though, that people in power tend to be corrupted, and it's very true right now with politics and all over the world. There's all sorts of nonsense going on right now, and that's, you know, overstating one's significance. We're, you know, one life in millions on this planet at this time, you know, and there's nothing wrong with understanding that we're a flash of light and we can do what we can do with the time we're given, but we're no more important than anyone that has gone before or will go after. Wild moon woman, you were not made to be tame. You are an earthquake, shaking loose everything that is not soul. Shake, woman, shake. Elsie Morgan. Don't look for a princess in need of saving. Search for a queen willing to fight by your side. Fantasy and sci-fi rock my world. I think this is really great. The idea of females in weak roles needing saving somehow being... It's often the way it's portrayed in the media, and strong women and what is really strength, so let's bear in mind our lessons of strength, are discouraged, are ridiculed, are mocked, are judged on physical appearance. There's been a lot of it this week. Again, people being judged on physical appearance, in a world where the physical appearance is almost demanded of women, that they look a certain way in order to be, inverted commas, beautiful. Which is usually quite unhealthy for most people. And there really is this over focus on a woman's being taken care of by a man and what they look like, rather than striving for real strength and being able to fight the good fight. Again, there's the quote that I really like: we do not see things as they are, we see things as we are. So our interpretations on things often reflect who we are inwardly, and that's been an important lesson within banishing. So it's basically what you allow. So if you react in a negative, venting, aggressive, ranting, backstabbing, gossiping, passive-aggressive, lying manner, then that's all you will see in the world, because that's your projection of yourself, and that's what you will receive. And ultimately, you're poisoning yourself, especially if you overly focus on the negative aspects of people, and it's really friggin' easy to do, it really is, and to see everything as an attack and see everything as negative and rah, rah, rah. And it's very easy to do, get swamped under, especially when times are difficult, and it basically has to tell yourself to just stop it, just bloody stop it, and take time to ground and centre and banish that out of yourself, and if necessary, just retreat away from any situations which are going to perpetuate that, and work through situations which are going to support you and help you, and become better for it. I took off my shoes and walked into the woods. I felt lost and found with every step I took. Old Crone Corner. See. Learn how to see. Realise everything connects to everything else. Leonardo da Vinci. And with that, I realised I was having the same patterns of symbolism and imagery and animal energy over and over and over again. Magpies everywhere. They were landing in front of the car, in front of me, in the trees, calling out, speaking. I literally saw a sign with "Deja Vu" written on it as we were driving past the fields. Right, so I was looking at the magpie. Now the magpie is connected to the Morrigan. It's in the same family as crows and ravens, Corvidae family. It's known as the cunning prophet. Risks and risk-taking in order to further yourself, embracing your inner daredevil. You have to sometimes put yourself on the line in order to grow. It's okay to have irrational fears because it helps you to confront those irrational fears and overcome them. It also represents dualism, reconciliation of emotional or spiritual opposites, time to balance opposing emotions like anger and compassion, or spiritual opposites like the mysteries of life. Associated with omens, prophecy and divination. Pay attention to dreams. The magpie is the cunning prophet who comes into our lives in order to help us use prophecy and divination in ways which are clever. We are able to divine for personal abundance and to take joy in the process of change, to look forward to it instead of dreading it, as it will likely bring about new and exciting nourishment for our spirits. An excellent muse for those who are creative with words tends to confer magical and spiritual protection upon you once it enters your life. There was lemongrass essential oil everywhere this week. It's about balance, calm, uplifting, love, forgiving, forgetting. It can be used in love potions, developing psychic power, used in aroma lamps scattered throughout the home to repel all negativity, banishing. Add to water to cleanse a spell space and connects us to our inner child. The number 7 again was coming up again and again this week, relating to your inner shaman. Allows you to connect with people and situations. You will be aware of energy all around, the interconnectedness which we've already touched upon. Signifies the activity of taking messages, tying into the magpie energy, or knowledge from an outside source. It could be that you are to become a student, or it could be that you are to become a teacher, education or travelling, importance of a positive mindset. That's personal, so we'll leave that out. I'm going to go grab something. You just look at the pretty picture a minute. Right, apologies. Okay, so I picked up some more labradorite this week. However, it's a very beautiful paley grey rain colour. It's actually lighter than it looks on here, but if I can, there's a shimmer of it. I was actually transfixed by these. I wasn't sure what they were, and then I saw the shimmer. The shimmer's a bit more difficult to pinpoint on these than on normal labradorite. I don't know if you're going to see this. There's kind of a very subtle shimmer on that side. Anyway, so I got 4 pieces of this sort of grey, and it reminded me of rain and storms, coloured labradorite, and it was actually stormy in the couple of days that followed. Storms and high winds are really indicative to me of change inbound. it hasn't actually occurred yet, so perhaps this huge change is coming in our lives with regards to the oncoming week with the next Witchling, which I haven't pulled yet. So that will be interesting. But they really did remind me of rainwater, and I love, as I said, you know, God is in the rain, and last week, and rain is so cleansing. It can be used to banish, and stormwater has that really hugely purifying, umphy property to cleanse out anything that you don't need. And I love storms. They're just so indicative to me of change. A lot of work with Strafe this week. It takes courage to endure the sharp pains of self-discovery rather than choose the dull pain of unconsciousness that would last the rest of our lives. Marianne Williamson. And then a private reading. Bum, 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 bum. More repeating messages this week. Africa, Deja Vu, Lions, Ghosts, Magpies, Death, Prophetic Dreaming, and Black Wolves. Again, this is all quite personal, so I really will leave that. Or this is a nice quote that relates to the Labradorite. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars unknown. And then finally we're going to finish with a poem which came to me with the energies of this week, and I should have recorded it by itself, and I might still do that. I was born a wolf, wild and free, run between nook and tree. As I grew, my dreams took flight, so I wandered through the night. I see the moon, I stop and stare, I howl at once through autumn air. Between the veil, under the crow, that secret power we never know. I am the wolf, I am the tree, the divine spark runs inside of me. Joanne Morris, 2014. So that's it for today's vloggy vlog. Many blessings.